Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Robert Iducci, and I'm here for some Fading Suns character creation. Thank you for joining me. So, have you taken a look at the Kickstarter first? Fading Suns is on Kickstarter. If you're here, you probably have, but if not, go check it out. It's on Kickstarter until April 14th, and we are well past fully funded. We are at, let's see, $129,000, which is 118,000 euro, which means we only have less than 2,000 euro to get to the next stretch goal. The next stretch goal is the perk card pack. So if we had 120,000 euro, we unlock it and get reference cards for every perk in the character book. Emperor and Patriarch levels will receive physical rewards, and everyone will receive a digital version. The one I'm excited about is the next one, the 130,000 cloth jump web. That'll be awesome. It's a pretty cool map and kind of play map for your table. And then 140,000 we get to a deluxe GM playmat. So I think we'll probably make that maybe after, usually the last day we get a couple of big bumps. So we still got a few days before that. So I think we'll make those. We'll see what's the next. So once again, thank you all for joining me. We're gonna go through here and make some characters, or make a character, and then I think I was gonna do this. I'll do this again on Monday, and then maybe Wednesday and Friday. I don't know, depending. I might switch, but I'll make at least one more after this. And I have not made a character with this system yet, and so I will kind of be learning a lot of stuff along with you. I have read through it briefly though. If you are unfamiliar with Fading Suns, I definitely recommend you go. Well, first let me throw the Kickstarter link in there in the chat, and then if you are just learning about Fading Suns, you can check out a free introduction that they put together. It's got some really nice art. I really love the cover of the introduction art. It's got the jump web, or the jump gate, right there. There it is, right there. It popped up. Pretty cool. So, hello Freestyle. Nice to see you here again, Leffer and SCT1SG. And we should have joining us at some point, Giuseppe. What was it? Giuseppe Alestro himself. So Bill Bridges is going to join us. Bill Bridges is the designer, so he might be in here. He might. Oh, there he is. There. Welcome, Bill. And if we have any questions, we can ask him. Try not to just keep asking him questions. We all have questions, but a lot of these things will get answered soon. But if we run into something, we can definitely use his advice. So Giuseppe Alestro is the name of the sort of main viewpoint character in Fading Suns. There's a bunch of journals written by him, and they'll also be in the universe book, the upcoming universe book. So let's just get into it. Here is the character sheet. We've kind of had it on, people have had kind of little sneak peeks of it, but never really looked at it closely. So here we see our name, rank, species, class, faction, calling, skills, characteristics over here, our occult attributes, resistances, armor, if we have an e-shield, vitality and revivals, and then actions and our victory point banks and stuff like that. Then there's this other sort of reference sheet, so we can list our perks, capabilities, birthrights, and possessions, technosis, money, and maybe a couple notes. All right, so let's get started here. So the first thing that you do, even before you really create a character, your GM needs to kind of decide whether or what kind of troupe you're going to be playing, and that's either a GM decision or the group decision, depending on how the game's being run. And it looked like the sort of default situation for for troops is kind of like a noble's retinue or noble's entourage. And so that was kind of the default before, and they're sort of sticking with the default as that now as well. But you can create whatever you want. You could be a captain of a ship and the retinue, or whatever you want. A mercenary unit. You could do whatever you want. But the kind of default setting, as I said, is to have a noble retinue. So that's what we're gonna sort of go off of as our troop archetype. And apparently, there's more information. I haven't really looked it up, but there's more information that'll be in the Game Master book to talk about different kind of archetypes you have for your group. But we're gonna stick with the sort of noble entourage. There's a group of people that have kind of gathered to support the noble character, or they could be like on a spiritual mission. Who knows? So we're gonna go with that as our base concept for this group. And again, I don't know how many characters I'll get through, but I'd like to make at least 2, maybe more, but probably only 1 today. We'll see. So step 2 is going to be our character concept. So we just have to kind of think about what kind of character we want to make. Fading Suns is a science fiction game, so it's in the far future, in the 6000s, I believe, and but it also has this very kind of medieval feudalistic society as part of it. So we can take a lot of the things that we know from kind of fantasy RPGs and use them in here as sort of archetypes, which is cool. It makes things very familiar, but also I like the blending of science fiction and fantasy. So I think since we're doing the noble archetype, what do you guys think about just creating a noble as our first character? Here's a few. It gives examples of a pious monk, a daring pilot, or a haughty noble. I think we should stick with a noble. This would be like the leader of the group. So let's kind of stick with that, and we'll go through and see what we can do with that. Now, there is in the book, I know it will be nicely formatted. I have like a Word document that basically has a quick start for the character concepts. And basically, we're going to go through all these steps, but the basic steps are 1, kind of pick what your species is. 2, pick what your social class is. 3, pick your faction, and then your calling. And so those are just the basic steps. There's it's more detailed, but those are the basics. So I think we're going to pick species. Let's just stick with human for our first one. And if we want to pick another one, a different race. So there are the Obun, who are kind of mystics. There are the Ukar, excuse me. They were kind of rebellious psychics. And there are the Voroks, which are these 6-limbed giants. For now, let's just stick with human just to kind of keep it simple. And then we have to pick our class. The 4 classes are noble, priest, merchant, and yeoman. And again, I kind of think we should stick with noble just to make it sort of easy. And then we would pick our faction. So within each faction, there are 5. There are currently 5. Within each class, social class, there are 5 factions. And there are more than that, and there will be more coming out in future products. But this is what we've got right now. So there are a total of kind of 15 factions within, 20 factions within the 4 classes. And then we'll pick a calling. And with each, so each of those factions that I was mentioning, they are tied to your class. So each faction is tied to the class. But then within each faction or within each class, there's also your callings. And most of them are tied to your class, but there are also some that can be in any class. There are, looks like about 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 9 that can go to any class, which is kind of cool. Leffer asks, the factions include the noble houses. Yeah, so the factions are the noble houses. So if you pick a noble as your class, then your faction is a noble house. And it looks like, there will be, there's a factions book, which has more details on some of these. And then there'll be individual products for each of them. Yeah, and so there's tons of minor houses. The main, these are sort of some of the main houses. These aren't even all of the main houses. There are more. So there'll be lots more. So there's lots of room for different kinds of nobles. Even though we have 5 factions for the nobles, and then you have your callings within those factions. There'll also be other factions. So there's a lot of room for a lot of variation in character types. So let's go ahead and get started then. So we did our character concept. We have our species. I'll go and find the information for that in a moment. I'm just going to go through here. I'm just going to lay out the steps again. So we chose our species, our class, which we talked about, faction. We haven't gone there yet. Then calling. Some classes have a favored calling, so it's like the thing that they're known for. Then there's patron saints. Then we'll be able to personalize our character with our equipment. So let's go get back into it. So character concept. So are you human or alien? So we already said we're going to be human. Do you have a family? Yeah, I mean, I think we said we're going to be a noble, right? So I think we will have a family, a noble family. So there's a bunch of questions here, like, are you still in touch with them? What's your relationship with them? Since we're not really using this for a game right now, I don't know if we necessarily have to come up with all this. We're trying to mostly go through the mechanics and whatnot. So describe your character's physical appearance. Do you have any quirks or tics? What's your social status? Do you have any occult powers? I'm always a fan of psychic stuff, so I was kind of thinking we could maybe throw a little psychic power into this noble. We'll see how we can do that later. Then what's your profession? Are you superstitious or a believer of reason? Do you have faith in religion? What's your perspective on technology? So in Fading Suns, technology is sort of like it's not very, it's sort of like a necessary evil. And so the merchants are usually the ones that sort of deal with technology, but obviously everybody's going to have to at some point. So knowing your character's perspective on technology is interesting. How do you feel about the status quo? What's most important to you? What is your greatest fear? What are your ambitions? What is your role in the troupe? So if we're the noble, we're sort of the leader, more or less. And how did you meet your troop mates? So those are great questions, to go over. Maybe if you're doing a session 0 or something like that, as you create your character. Something interesting, there's a sidebar here for trait overflow. So it says characters can only have a maximum of 8 ranks in skills and characteristics at level 1. So we need to keep that in mind. They can rise to 9 or higher at level 2, and then 10 or higher, and then 10 at level 10 and higher. So our species, as we said, we're going to go ahead and pick human, but it says characteristics. So our characteristics are over here. It's going to be our body, our mind, and our spirit, and then underneath those, individual characteristics. And so it says that at this stage you choose your species, and you get to choose 1 characteristic as your primary and 1 as a secondary. All the rest are tertiary. So I think that, like, let's see. Yeah, so if you choose your species, that kind of changes what you can, what your stats can be. And humans, though, they are the most widespread and populous, and so they have no special birthright abilities. They're very flexible and adaptable species. So we basically get to pick what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick 1 at 5, 1 at 4, and all the rest are 3. So you can see here, as we look at our characteristics here, they're all already sort of defaulted at 3. I'm not sure what we're going to need as a noble and as a, if we're trying to get into like a psychic power, a psychic character. And so let's just go ahead, and I'm just going to put a note here. So 1 at 5 and 1 at 4. And so we just kind of got that note here, and we'll come back to that later. So it doesn't look like we have any, special abilities as a human. We can just kind of put our points where we want. All right, so let's get into the noble, see what that tells us. So the role of the noble is to be master of all things, accomplished ruler, skilled warrior, able diplomat, gifted artist, and so on. The reality is often far different, but the goals are still worth striving for. All of the houses, whether royal or minor, share certain features, such as a sense of duty and honor, but each is very different. So our class upbringing. You were born to nobility, so you were raised learning skills and responsibilities. At first level, you gain the following traits. So we got a list of traits here. Oops. And the traits are our capabilities. So we are going to write these down, and I think this is going to go on the second page. Perks capabilities, yep, right here. So we are going to have arts. Here, I'll just kind of paste it here. Let's see how that works. There we go. A little bit bigger than I wanted, but we'll adjust. So here's a couple things. So arts lore or beastback or warfare lore, court customs, homeworld lore, military weapons, and we can read and speak Earthish. So those are our main capabilities. So we can come back and kind of decide which of those we want again as we kind of go on. Right now I'm kind of thinking, I'm not really sure what beastback is. We'll have to look at that. Obviously arts lore, warfare lore, that seems sort of obvious. Court customs, homeworld lore. So those are kind of all things we need to think about. And let's go back over here to our characteristics. So our characteristics are dexterity +1 or endurance +1, or strength +1. So we get to choose dex, endurance, or strength. And then our faith +1 or will +1, presence +2, and wits +1. So for now, let me go back here. I forgot to put some details here. So our species is human, we already said. And our class is noble. And we are currently level 1. I'll make that one a little bit bigger. There we go. All right. So we're kind of trying to be psychic. Do we want our dexterity, our endurance, or our strength to be +1? I'm thinking dexterity just to start it out. So I'm just gonna put +1 right here, and we'll go back and add these up later. Then we get faith +1 or will +1. I think I'm probably gonna want will +1 as psychic. And then presence +2 and wits +1. Presence, which is here, +2, and wits. And wits +1. So what is wits? Oh, is that supposed to be intuition? Oh, wits right there. It was up there. Yeah. I just missed it. There we go. Okay. And then we get perks. So we get the Imperious perk +1 class perk chosen from the noble class perk lists below or from the opens. So we get the Imperious perk. I'm going to copy that down. We're going to go to our perks over here. We can go back. We can go look that up here in a moment. And there's a whole list of perks. So each class has its own list of perks. And then when you go up in levels, you just get to choose which perks you want. You also get other things in addition to that, but you can continue to kind of get more and more of the class perks. And let's see. So for some of the examples are fencing, Imperious, which we already have. Landed, lay down the law, martial arts, nimble, noble title, noblesse oblige, proxy, retainer, riches, Saint Lexius's blessing, and two-gun fighting. And then there's the open perks list, which are just sort of like general perks that anybody can take, and there's a whole bunch of there's about twice as many. And so let's go see what Imperious means. Let's see. might be in a different section. 1 second. All right, it doesn't look like it's in this chapter. And so I'm working from, you know, from documents. So I need to go grab the correct document. I only opened a couple of them, but it looks like I need more. So, yep, traits. So someone says, they removed the opposed spirit stats and brought in a level mechanic, introduced massive feats. Not really feats, yeah, they're well, yeah, they're perks. So under traits, we'll pull those up just a second. All right, here we go, Imperious. So Imperious. Oh, hold on, word is being difficult for me. Imperious is the estate of the nobility was ordained by the Pan Creator. You carry that authority with in your bearing. So the benefits, the benefit, I guess, is once per scene, you may spend a secondary action to assume a regal bearing and imperious mien to shield yourself from a single influence attempt or occult power. You spend victory points to boost your mind or spirit resistance, but you draw the victory point from the well instead of from your own cash, up to a limit of 5 plus your level. So it lets us kind of do resistance. And so one of the cool things about Fading Suns is that, there are sort of social combats, and this is an ability that's a perk that's gonna let us resist some of that. So that's cool. All right, let's get back over here. So we took our perk and we get +1 class perk from the noble class perk list or from the open. So I would say let's go noble. And there's, again, fencing, landed, lay down the law, martial arts, nimble, noble title, noblesse, oblige, proxy, retainer, riches, St. Lextius's blessing, and 2-gun fighting. I like the idea of, even though that we're a noble, we still have martial arts. You know, we still have some skills. So let's see what that does for us. Martial arts. So the benefits of that is you gain special advantage when engaging in hand-to-hand combat. See combat specialties later in chapter for full details. We can choose one school from the following. We can choose the Gras school, but you have to be a Vorox. That's one of the alien races. You can choose the Iron Heel. We have to be a muster or bounty hunter or a chainer or a mercenary. Your no-nonsense commando style specializes in kicks and holds. A Jock's Kai Von, which is Jock's boxing. It's an Ukari school of no-holds-barred fighting. Kodo, your fighting uses misdirection, subtlety, and outright trickery. Shaidan is a noble, so maybe that's a good one. Your honorable school specializes in fist attacks, disdaining kicks, and grappling. And it can be taken twice. So the first time we take it, we are an adept, and then the second time you are a master. At the moment, I'm not sure what that means, to be an adept or a master, you know, the first or second time you take it. So let's, I mean, we're here, there's already a noble, so let's take Shaidan martial arts. So that's going to be our second perk. All right. Let's see if I can... I don't like that font. Let's go back to our, I think it's Minion. Yep, Minion Pro. All right, so martial arts and Shaidan. and we are an adept. Cool. All right, go back to our character information. So we've taken our perks, and then we have skills. Academia at 1, arts at 1, charm at 2, or impress at 2, and then melee at 1. Let's go back, look over here, and here's our skills. So all of your skills, kind of, if you have them, they start at 3. So that's what those 3 in parentheses are. And right now this is in the top on top of that. So right now we're at academia +1. And then we're going to be at arts +1. And I'll go back and add all these up afterwards. Charm or impress. Do you think we want to be better at charm or impress? That is a question to see exactly what the differences are. I've got, I think, the rules here. Let's see if that's where they are. It's in the rules document. So, doesn't look like it's there in the rules document. Could be in the character. So yeah, I'm just working with these documents. You know, they're kind of Word documents, so they're not laid out like a book would be exactly. I think it'd have to be under characters. Let's see. We're just trying to figure out the difference between charm and impress. And kind of looking through all these skills. There we go. Oh, nope, that's not quite what I was looking for. So we'll just move ahead because I'm not seeing where there's an obvious skills section here. It's under traits also, someone is saying. Under traits. Charm. And just doing a search is gonna take too long. Influence. Base rating, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to come back to that. So basically, you know, they're a different, you know, this will be laid out much easier. Right now I'm just working off the kind of working playtest documents. So let's get back to where we were with our noble upbringing. So charm or impress, you know, I kind of impress sounds a little bit better to me than charm for this character. So we get impress of 2 and then a melee of 1. All right. And then let's see, we already did our noble class perks. Did all those. Filling in the character sheet. Let's see if there's any details here. So it says you get 2 perks, one assigned by your class and another one that you get to choose. Find the section of the character sheet labeled perks and write them down. Oh yeah, so we already did that. So we got our 1 assigned and then we chose the martial arts one, so we're good there. All right, so now we get to pick our faction. So what do you guys think we should pick for our faction? The 5 factions for the nobles right now are House Al-Malik, who are sort of this exotic house. There is House Ducados, who are kind of a scheming house. House Hawkwood, who's kind of like this regal house. The emperor is originally from House Hawkwood. The Hazat, which are militant house, kind of fits with what I was talking about a little bit. And House Lee Hallen, who are the pious house. So far, I'm kind of feeling like the militant house would fit. What do you guys think? Yeah, two people have said Hazat, so let's go with that. The Hazat. Interesting that it says the Hazat instead of House Hazat. Let's see. So we're going to go over here and under faction. The Hazat. They're also the only open psychers. Interesting. Thanks for that information. That's awesome. So that kind of fits automatically with what we're trying to do. Love it when that happens. All right. So there's that. So let's go find house or the Hazat. Hazat. Disciplined yet passionate. The Hazat are a study in opposites. Their military is frighteningly well trained and well equipped, and their diplomats are canny and sly. All members of the house can handle at least one weapon at an expert level, and it is said that one Hazat is more dangerous than the whole platoon of muster soldiers. A Hazat character might be the focus of a drama for one of any number of reasons, and more often than not, the reason is deeply personal. Apprenticeship trait. So that's, our first, kind of like your first level sort of, is where you get your apprenticeship traits. So our capabilities include combat armor or lore or range weapons. We can choose energy guns or slug guns, Hazat lore, and military weapons. So I'm going to go over here and put that here under capabilities. And just like before, I'll paste it in here. Although I guess we kind of have to figure out what we want. Do we want combat armor or lore, or range weapons? I kind of feel like we've kind of already been going down this martial arts path. So I don't know if we really want guns is basically what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm going to remove the guns. And do we want combat armor or lore? Let's see if I can find what the lores are. I feel like that it's going to be a super common word in here, so it might be difficult to find. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything right off the bat. Oh, there's some martial arts. Chapter 3 traits. Yeah, I'm in there, but there's a lot of words in here. a lot of the lore is common, so I'm not finding it easily. And I don't want to bog things down. Two-gun fighting. All right, so I feel like these are perks. Let's see, Bill's saying capabilities are at the very start. Let's see. There we go, lores. All right, so it says lores any. So there's a lot of lores. So we've got art lores, imagery, magic lanterns, poetry, sculpting. What's magic lantern? Your medium uses moving or still images captured with a device like a camera or hollow eye. That's awesome. Magic lantern, that's a sweet name for it. So sculpting, writing. There's craft lores like architecture, blacksmithing, carpentry. Kind of regular stuff. Custom lores, cathedral customs, common customs, court customs, streetwise. Knowledge lores. There's beast lores, faction lores, history, jump web lores, occult, planet lores, religions, ship operations, read languages, speak languages, warfare lore, xeno lore, and then there's medical lore. Wow, there's a lot. Disease, poison, surgery, torture. Nice. And then there's arts. So, and then there's science lores, it looks like, as well. There are some restricted lores. Or no, science is restricted to merchant leagues, reclaimers, and tech redeemers, which is cool. All right, so there's a bunch of tech lores. Wow, lots of lores. So we can do combat armor or any lore. So what do you think? What would be the lore for our character? Or should we go with combat armor? I'm not sure, once again, what the combat armor is. We can go look that up. Combat armor covers practice use of light and medium weight armors. That sounds like it could be useful. I'm kind of liking that right now. So let's go combat armor. All right, then we got Hazat lore and military weapons. All right. So we've taken our capabilities for our apprentice levels of Hazat, and now we get to add some more characteristics. So let's go do that. So our Hazat characteristics are dexterity or strength +2. We already had a +1 dexterity. Should we keep bumping that up? And should we get +2 dexterity, or should we kind of bolster our strength and add +2 strength? What do you guys think? And then we also get to choose, actually no, we just get presence +2. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. So right now we're gonna be at +4. Will +1 or wits +1. So we get to choose dexterity 2 or strength 2. What do you think? Strength is needed for martial arts fighting. All right, so I think we're gonna go with Bill's suggestion there. So we'll add strength +2, and then will or wits. So someone says if you take combat armor, it also gives you that item to start in your equipment. That's good to know. And then will or wits. I would assume we need will for psychic stuff. Not sure. But what do you think? Will or wits? Right now we already have both a +1 in will and wits. So a +1 in one of those will, just gives it a second one. What do you think? I say let's go will. All right. So that was characteristics for our Hazat. Now our perk, we get a noble title. We become a knight. Bill says, depends on what path you take, but yes, will helps you defend against psychic powers. So that's good. So our perk is noble title knight. Let's go put that in here. And let's go find out what that does. Traits. Noble title. Nope, that's not it yet. Again, just kind of looking through all the... There we go, noble title. So you were born a member of a noble family and have been knighted as a lord or noble house. Lord of a noble house. Benefits. You bear a noble rank. Its title is dependent on how many levels of this hierarchical perk you possess. Each successive level raises you in rank 1 title. See the chart below. In addition, each rank grants you +2 mind resistance. That's nice. This bonus raises with each successive rank. Nobles have the right to impress any serf beholden to their house in temporary combat service. Most serfs are terrible combatants, however, and they will usually run from a fight the first chance they get. Nevertheless, they provide an adequate vigilant posse. They may provide an adequate vigilant posse for hunting down escaped criminals. If the impressed serf is killed in such service, the noble must pay a weregild to his family, although this rarely costs more than 3 years of that serf's wage, an average of 10 firebirds. So the first level would be knight and dame. That's what we're at. Second is baronet. Third is baron or baroness. Fourth is earl or marquis or marquesa. Fifth is count or countess. Sixth is duke or duchess. There is one higher title for each house. The prince is the head of the entire household. Such a rank can be gained through arduous gameplay. The Machiavellian schemes necessary to supplant the current prince are practically unimaginable. So, cool. So we're gonna take. So we don't really have to note anything down. I guess we could we get +2 mind resistance, which is Nice. +2 mine resistance. All right. So that was our house. No, that was our perk. We did our skills. Our house quirks. That was, where did I see that? Maybe nowhere. I just go into our birthrights, maybe? Let's see. House, blessing and curse. There we go. So it's right here under our faction. So our house quirks are blessing, discipline, +2 goal on strength or dexterity based combat rolls. Choose only one characteristic when you acquire this blessing. So it sounds like we're already pretty good at strength stuff, so we can get even better at it. And since martial arts goes off strength, let's go ahead and choose the strength. So we are going to choose disciplined and +2 goal on strength rolls, strength combat rolls. And I'm gonna make this smaller so it can maybe fit. I don't know. Yeah, probably not quite. I'm just gonna put discipline +2 strength. And you could probably put this on the other side, on the other page, just to keep it a little neater. So it doesn't actually add our strength, right? It just gives us discipline, gives us a +2 goals on strength rolls. All right, and then our curse is vengeful, -2 goal on will-based rolls when questioned or insulted. Yeah, only in combat, right? So let's go put that in here. So we are, what did it say? Vengeful. So we have -2 on will-based rolls when questioned or insulted. All right, next we have our favorite calling is duelist. So if we want to choose a duelist as our calling, we get some bonuses for that. And I think that's just like in the game, things can come up where it says like if you are the favorite calling, then you get bonuses, right? So they're saying it will raise your goal for strength plus fight by 2. Yeah. When we're fighting, yeah, right. But it doesn't actually raise my actual strength over here. Just the goal number. Material awards, we get synth silk cape, which is some armor, some body resistance, and an E-shield compatible and dueling weapon. And Bill says if you follow the favorite calling, you can choose class perks as calling perks. Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't think we're going to go with that just because it doesn't exactly feel... Again, I want to do more psychic stuff, so we'll see about that. But we get some equipment here, it looks like. And we go down here to our possessions. Where we have... synth silk cape. And then an E-shield. Oh, it's E-shield compatible. And a dueling weapon. So is that armor, technically? I don't know. Sorry, I must have missed it. What's the favorite calling linked to? It's duelist, if we want. Yeah, for a Hazat noble, is a duelist, is their favorite calling. The TL is 5 armor. I'm just gonna kind of... So I think this means... Just gonna make some small notes here. A little bit too. Since I'm not sure what we need, everything here, you know, I'm not sure all the details we need, and so I'm just gonna put as much of it as I can here, and we can, once we figured out what we need, we can change things. All right. So there's that. So that was our material award. All right. So that is the last of our of the apprenticeship information for Zot. So now we got to go over to. We go to look at our quick start chart. Character quick start. So we did our faction. Now we have to do our calling. So the calling for nobles is commander, conspiracist, courtier, duelist, enthusiast, incognito, where we also get to choose a cover identity calling, which I think is cool. A knightly order, a lord, a questing knight, a ronin, a spy, a sybarite, or we can choose from the open callings. And the open callings are amateur, artist, cyborg, explorer, Mercurian, pirate, psychic, scholar, and theurgist. I'm kind of leaning towards psychic. If you guys know of something else, any of those from the noble that are kind of supposed to be psychic, let me know, and we can look at those ones too. Spill my coffee. I'm kind of interested in questing knight. I don't know if that's really gonna have any psychic stuff in it, but it sounds cool. So let's look. So the way that these are formatted in the book is basically, so we chose our we chose our class, and then within that it has each of the each of the factions within the class, so right under that, and then all of these callings are right under that. So like each class has its own section with everything that can come under it. It's not like a different section for just the classes, then just the factions, then just the calling. So they're all specifically for it. So this one's kind of a little bit easier to look for stuff, I think. So let's go look at, what did I want to look at? The questing knight. Here's duelist. Duelist, you get combat armor, martial weapons, a bunch of dexterity, endurance, perception. You get a perk, you get some skills, and you get some equipment. And then you get to choose a duelist perk or from your open perks list. Giuseppe says you can be a member of the Company of the Phoenix, the questing knights, without following the calling. You just can't access its perks. Interesting. So let's see. Incognito, patron saints. Oh yeah, each thing has each calling has patron saints, which is cool. So yeah, here's some knightly orders, like Bill was just saying. But he's saying that you can be a member of the Company of the Phoenix without following the calling. You don't get its perks, which is cool. It just still lets you join a group without having to specifically be, what they sort of espouse. So the knightly orders are Order the Shroud. They're a secretive order that was reputed to serve a psychic coven. Its members hear words or shrouds to hide their appearance, or wear hoods or shrouds to hide their appearance, and to assist in anonymously helping the needy. Order the Mantis. This ambitious order was originally formed by the Ducados to compete with the questing knights. Order of Vladimir. This discreet anti-republican order works to keep sovereignty of the noble houses. Some orders give themselves over to defending the church through various orders dedicated to its protection, whether they often fight alongside priest Templars. These include the Adamantine Order. It's mostly knights, but includes some priests who serve the eschatonics. Then there's the Order of the Saint. This noble order is dedicated to protecting Amalthean priests in their frequent pilgrimages to dangerous locations. And the Sword of Lextius. This humble order serves the Earth Orthodox, often as a penance or at the behest of families who seek favor by sending younger sons into service. So, oh wow. It's already 11:50, so I've only got about 10 more minutes. So let's get through this. So what do you think? Someone's saying just go psychic. All right, let's look for that. Psychic. All right, just gotta go find it. Assume that's gonna be somewhere at the bottom. Yep, psychic. All right, so let's go over here and change our calling to psychic. All right, so you have strange powers of the mind. Psychics usually cling to no particular faith or order, and unlike theurgists, they're rarely a part of the church. The Inquisition hunts and seeks to eradicate psychics wherever they can find them. As such, psychics tend to be loners, making their way through the known worlds while trying to remain hidden from those who would seek to destroy them. They often adopt false identities to hide their true profession. Similar to a spy or an incognito noble, a psychic can practice a false calling. Unlike those two callings, however, they cannot choose the perks and benefits of their false calling. It's a cover story only, something to disguise the scent of suspicion. Some use their powers for good, seeking to give comfort to the wounded and ill. Others use their powers for their own benefit, manipulating minds and wreaking havoc wherever they go. Some psychics hide in plain sight, using their powers for the benefit of the Merchant League or Noble House. It is even rumored that the Inquisition has its own psychics that they use to hunt down heretics. The patron saints are Saint Kalos and Adonia, or the Savant of Shaka. So your early career traits are special. You gain 1 rank in the psi characteristic. All right. Where's that gonna be? Probably here. Yep. Under occult, we got 1. You can increase it by using characteristic ranks awarded at each level. Capabilities, we choose 2 lores. So I'm gonna come back over to here. We get 2 lores, and where are we at? Capabilities, choose 2 lores. We'll come back to that. Characteristics, allocate 4 ranks to characteristics tied to your particular psychic path, or claim the following: intuition 1, perception 1, will 2. So our psychic paths. I'm not seeing where the psychic paths are right now. Let's see. That could be chapter 5 in occult. Yeah, so we'll have to go look up that. So, but since we're running out, I think that's I think that will be give me a good opportunity. Now that we know we're doing psychics, instead of making another character next time, we will pick this up, and I'll get a chance to read some of the psychic stuff and know what we need to do, which psychic path are our options, and then we can talk about which ones we want to choose next time. So for now, I think we'll call it here. And I hope you guys learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot as I'm, going through this. So the next time we get together, I'll have read some of the psychic stuff, and we can choose those options. Plus, I'll try to look at some of the lores. I didn't realize there were so many. So we can, I'll go through the lores, and we can maybe pick out a few that make a little sense for our character, because we still have a few that we need to pick. So if you enjoyed this, if you're interested in Fading Suns, it seems like a really cool game, a really cool system, really cool setting. Check out the Kickstarter, which is going on now until April 14th. So you'll only got until next Tuesday to back it. And if you just want to kind of check it out, you can see the introduction. If you go to DriveThruRPG, search for Fading Suns Introduction, and there's a free introduction document that comes up. It's got a lot of the lore, a lot of the base lore, and some of the mechanic stuff that we've kind of talked about today. So again, I'm Robert Aducci for Ulysses Spila. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you on the Kickstarter. And next Monday, I will finish up this character at 11 a.m. Pacific time here. All right, thanks. Have a good day. Bye.